Hello there and welcome to Foundations of Yoga Asana with Andrea Yoga today. And in today's tutorial, we're going to be practicing four-limbed staff pose, otherwise translated from the Sanskrit as Chaturanga Dandasana. This posture is a strong one which targets the chest, the arms, the shoulders, the back and the core. Now, common mistakes in Chaturanga is to practice this like a push-up, allowing the elbows to flare out and burdening the upper body. But it is different to a push-up in the position of the upper body. Throughout the posture, the head of the upper arm is in line with, not in front of, the side of the body, and the sternum remains buoyant throughout. You can modify this pose on the knees by shifting the weight forward sufficiently to challenge the core while also supporting the weight on a bolster. But here in this tutorial today, I will demonstrate how you can use a yoga brick to help. In the posture, you'll have your toes and palms on the ground while your body is a straight plank hovering over the floor with the elbows at a 90-degree angle. Focusing on this pose will train and prepare the upper body for arm balances like crow and firefly. To use the brick to support enough of the weight to be helpful, this will, however, still require us to work the legs and the core. So this one is pretty simple. From an all-fours position, place a block underneath the chest. You will need to experiment with using the side and the end of the block to determine what works best with your own bodily proportions. Bending at the elbows to a 90-degree angle, rest the sternum on the block and straighten out the legs. Equally, you can practice the Chaturanga modification with a strap looped around the elbows, not demonstrated here, but you can loop a strap around the elbows so that the loop is large enough so that when you bend your elbows for Chaturanga, the upper arms will touch the sides of your ribs. Once you figure out the correct diameter for the strap, you can give this one a try as well. The best modification, however, for a flow class when you meet Chaturanga, when we are not quite strong enough yet to nail the posture fully, we can bring the knees to the floor to support the weight and knees to the floor to support the weight and help us to work more skillfully with the upper body. We can choose to bring one or two knees down depending on how much support is required and needed. This is the perfect option to take in a flow class if you just need a little extra support. And hey, we all need a little help with things from time to time. So don't hesitate to take this option if it helps you to maintain integrity in the shoulders. To practice this one, you just bring one or two knees to the floor. It really is that simple. So knees, chest and chin. Here is a little bit of a controversial moment for us in this tutorial. Often knees, chest and chin can be presented as a good Chaturanga alternative. And while I don't have any problem with knees, chest and chin, there is one little issue for when it is used as a preparation for or an alternative for Chaturanga, and here's why. The most common mistake that can be made in Chaturanga is lowering the shoulders too far and lifting the bottom too high. And this is exactly what happens in knees, chest and chin, as demonstrated here. When the knees are on the floor, this isn't really a problem, which is why knees, chest and chin itself isn't really too tricky. But when it is associated too closely with Chaturanga, it teaches the exact opposite neuromuscular pattern and muscle memory that we should be developing for a healthy Chaturanga. So before beginning any Chaturanga style yoga push-up, be sure to practice on a soft mat on a flat surface with the knees resting on the ground. Most people can find alignment issues by allowing the belly to droop or allowing the arms to press out and flare out towards the side. Form is really important in this move, so be sure to keep track of the following. First, the elbows should hug the side as you are lowering and lifting. Secondly, the belly muscles must be pulled in tightly to keep the back in alignment. Do not allow the belly to droop or the back to sag below the chest. Moving very slowly as you lower down is also important to keep the movement smooth as we take a deep breath in. As you press up, exhale through the mouth and pull the lower abs in even more firmly. Remember, the elbows should point straight back throughout the entire move. So to practice, here we go. Begin in a plank position with the knees resting or up with the arms shoulder width apart. Remember, you can modify any time by doing a kneeling plank if the full plank is too challenging. Remember to engage the core, the pelvic muscles and keep the abs nice and firm. Lower the chest to a hover above the mat while hugging the elbows in towards the side of the waist and keep the elbows pointing straight back. Press up by straightening the arms and returning to your plank position. For the full expression of the pose, spread the fingertips wide, moving from the shoulders, and step or jump back to high plank, keeping a gentle microbend in the elbows so as not to overstress or hyperextend the elbow joint. Inhale, shifting forwards onto the tops of the toes, drawing the front ribs in and the hip heads up to engage the core. Exhale, bending at the elbows towards 90 degrees, elbows pointing straight back. Inhale to lift the chest, hovering the hips and straightening the arms to move into upward facing dog. And while you're in your plank, imagine rotating the palms externally to fire up the muscles between and on the back of the shoulder blades, turning the inner crease of the elbows forwards and pointing the elbows back. Engaging the quads and drawing the inner thighs together. Thank you so much for practicing Chaturanga Dandasana with me today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Let me know how it goes in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Namaste.